What is going on, everybody? Renzio here, and today I kind of just want to talk about today's episode of Monday Night Raw. I kind of want to do this every time an episode of Raw, SmackDown, NXT, or any PLEs that happen that occur, and I kind of want to just give my thoughts on them, on everything that's happened, any storylines that have finished, storylines that have started, storylines that have progressed. I am wearing this Toronto Raptors cap because, well, I'm from Canada, so I have to do the whole hometown favorite, even though the closest team from here isn't even the Toronto Raptors. It just so happens to be the only team that's from the country. This episode of Monday Night Raw is featured by the fact that Jey Uso finally won his first singles title win. This has been a long time coming. This was the storyline that was happening even before Roman Reigns lost his world title. Jey Uso has had matches against Roman Reigns for that world title, and he just never could break the mold. And he finally did it by defeating Braun Breaker for the Intercontinental Championship. I personally thought that Braun Breaker was going to have a decently long run, but I kind of like that, those kinds of runs where they last over 600 days, over 700 days, those should be very rare, and it should be reserved for superstars who have been able to turn that title into something prestigious. Like, obviously Roman Reigns did it with the Universal Championship, obviously eventually becoming the undisputed WWE champion, and of course with Gunther's Intercontinental Championship run. But I kind of like that we kind of turned this, like, of course, Braun Breaker's run wasn't as long as we would have liked, but the fact that we turned it into Jey Uso's first ever singles title win is also just as good. You could have easily done this at a PLE, but I think doing it in an episode of Raw isn't the worst idea either. Actually, in fact, I think it's really good because Jey can finally start some storylines, like maybe possibly with his brother Jimmy returning. You could see an Uso versus Uso match for the Intercontinental Champion. We've seen those two win countless amounts of tag titles throughout their tenure together, but to see them finally break out of their shells, go one-on-one for a singles title, I think that's long overdue, and I am very excited for it. Now, I won't necessarily be going in order of the segments that happened in Monday Night Raw. I'm just kind of going off of the stuff that's off the top of my head, and then if I forget any, then I'll see if I can remember them. But the next thing that I kind of not remember, but something I found really funny with my friend was the Dominic Mysterio in a shark cage match, in a shark cage for the Liv Morgan versus Rhea Ripley women's world title match. Poor Dominic is just getting these kinds of treatments where he's already been fought for by Rey Mysterio and Eddie Guerrero back when he was really young, and now he's in a shark cage. I know there were memes going around with Dominic Mysterio on a pole match, and I think that would have been really funny to see. The last time the shark cage was used, I believe it was on Chris Jericho. It was that long ago that the shark cage was used, that Chris Jericho was still in the WWE. Now, of course, this is not going to stop the likes of Carlito and JD McDonough getting involved, and it's also not going to stop the likes of Damian Priest and possibly Jey Uso getting involved. But Finn Balor and Damian Priest are going to have a match at Bad Blood, so I'm excited to see if they even take part of it. And Jey Uso is also Jey Uso, I don't know if he's going to have a match at Bad Blood, but if he is, then it's going to be only JD McDonough, who has nothing to do and is probably going to be the most fresh in terms of helping out Liv Morgan or Rhea Ripley. There's a chance that Dominic Mysterio might even try to escape the cage and be like, oh, I served my time in prison. I know how cages work. That would be a pretty cool angle to put in there too. But, poor Dominic Mysterio is just getting the, I wouldn't say like the shortest end of the stick, because he's having a pretty good storyline right now. Biggest heel, arguably the biggest heel in WWE, because he can't even get a single word out before the whole crowd just boos him out of the building. And I think he's my age, so he's doing pretty well, which is actually pretty amazing, of course. Next thing, we have the ongoing progression of Xavier Woods' eventual heel turn. Now, of course, they just had a match with American Made. I'm trying to, because there's Alpha Academy and American Made, yet American Alpha, which Chad Gable had, and it's like I'm just trying to remember which name is which. New Day had a match with American Made, which American Made obviously did end up winning, and this is helping to build the feud, the eventual heel turn of Xavier Woods. And here's why I'm not saying it's a possible feud with Kofi Kingston. When a person in a tag team or a regular or just a singles competitor goes for a heel turn, you can go about it in two ways. The first way is what Xavier Woods is doing, or what they're having Xavier Woods do, is you have the team lose match after match after match. It's not considered jobbing, or at least in my eyes, because it is serving a purpose. This is serving a storyline that would eventually have Xavier Woods turn heel. The reason why I'm not saying it's a feud is because Kofi Kingston is more confused than he is antagonistic towards Xavier Woods' actions, because Kofi understands what's been going on. There's a chance that Kofi Kingston might also turn heel when Xavier Woods finally snaps and we finally get to see another heel run from the New Day. I don't think it's going to be like their first run. Their first run was very entertaining. They were very obnoxious with their jokes. And honestly, that's what got them over to eventually put them back into being baby faces. But by the looks of this, Xavier Woods is having more of a serious turn into his character, and he's been talking about singles championship wins because obviously Kofi Kingston and Big E have been WWE champion. Xavier Woods has yet to even win a singles championship. So if that is his time to shine, I am all ready for it. Whether or not Kofi Kingston gets put in the back burner or maybe gets put out due to injury, or, starts to support Xavier Woods by turning heel and maybe helping him with winning his first single championship run, I'm totally okay with whatever route it goes, but the change in the New Day has definitely needs to happen. Next, I want to talk about the promo that Damian Priest had on his brother. Well, say his brother Finn Balor, because they were in the Judgment Day and they were considered brothers. This is going to be a very interesting match. And I think, I don't want to, say that Finn Balor should win because of this or Damian Priest should win because of this. I like to see it as, if Damian Priest wins, what does that do to the storyline? If Finn Balor wins, what does that do to the storyline? When Damian Priest and Rhea Ripley were kicked out of the Judgment Day, they were already, their transformation into megastars was pretty much complete because they both won world titles. What this did though was put Finn Balor in the back burner. Finn Balor is someone who has a history of being involved in world title runs or being involved in world title pictures. He was the first ever Universal Champion, which only lasted for about a day before he got injured. And every attempt he's tried to make to win back the world title has been a complete and utter disaster. Now he joins this group, the Judgment Day, and he's kind of approaching this world title picture from a different angle now, because he's no longer the one competing for them. In fact, his stablemates are getting the world title wins, and he gets measly tag title wins. So it's kind of almost bringing him down the ladder, and obviously that's what eventually made them all turn on Damian Priest and Rhea Ripley. But I think what this also did was that the fact that Damian Priest and Rhea Ripley can go toe-to-toe with the Judgment Day on 5-on-2 situations and be even with them kind of makes the Judgment Day a little bit weaker than they used to be. So they definitely, I think, should start building a little bit more credibility, and that's where a Finn Balor win could benefit this. And honestly, I think seeing Finn Balor in the main event picture is kind of overdue. Once again, I would like to see him have a proper main event consistency for a bit, whether he wins titles or just gets involved in really good storylines. Totally fine. And I think it's all going to start with this match, no matter the outcome. So I'm actually very excited for this. And Damian Priest also cut a very good promo in this episode. Next, we have Drew McIntyre versus CM Punk. I just love it when those two throw digs at each other. You never know what they're going to bring up. You can bring up so much history with CM Punk, whether it's his time in AEW or his time in the WWE before he first quit. He got fired. Sorry, my apologies. When he got fired. And, CM Punk can do the same with Drew McIntyre, because Drew McIntyre has also had an indie run. Obviously, it wasn't as notable as CM Punk's, but still, I love it when these two get in the ring and kind of throw fits at each other. Obviously, they're doing more of the solo fits where one is coming out one week and then the other one comes out the next week, and back and forth. They only have their face-to-face confrontation almost like a week before the big match or a week after the big match, where they either have continuity or an ending, and I'm all up for it. They put a bracelet over, they had a strap match, and I can't wait to see what they do in Hell in a Cell. This is going to be absolutely exciting. Next, we have Bronson Reed versus Braun Strowman. Well, Bronson Reed versus The Miz, but Braun Strowman interrupted. So it became a brawl between the monster among monsters and an upcoming big man in Bronson Reed. I feel like this big rivalry, literally and metaphorically, against Braun Strowman not only gives Braun Strowman a storyline, but also starts to build Bronson Reed's name into eventually getting into bigger storylines. And seeing these two just beat the living crap out of each other amongst the dozens of security guards that are trying to stop them. Bronson Reed even hit a tsunami on a stack of security guards on top, which I don't know. I've never taken a bump before, but I would imagine that that might hurt a lot more than if you just took it yourself between the person and the ring mat. But, you know, unless I take that bump, I'm not going to know. Maybe I'll become a security guard. That would be a lot of fun. I'm probably not going to become a wrestler from it, but still, just to get that experience would be pretty fun. And just seeing these two go at it and brawl is just going to be a fun time. You got your classic Battle of the Giants, and I'm honestly very excited for it. Then you have Gunther. You had Sami Zayn versus Ludwig Kaiser. Sami Zayn picks up the win just for Gunther to come into the ring, throw this massive fit into Sami Zayn just to say no for that Intercontinental title match. I didn't think that was needed personally, but the fact that he just did it to even drive the fact that he doesn't want to give Sami Zayn a storyline, or sorry, a championship title match is pretty cool. And it just builds on the fact that Gunther, even though Sami Zayn has already defeated him once before, is not willing to give him that same opportunity, because in his eyes, the World Heavyweight title is a much more prestigious title than the Intercontinental Championship. And obviously he doesn't want to have it end the same way as it did before, which I don't blame him for. And we have the Rey Mysterio, we have the Dragon Lee versus Carlito and I honestly love Dragon Lee. Finally seeing him kind of step out into his own here, taking on Carlito, obviously with Carlito. Well, I wouldn't say Carlito putting him over, but just kind of showcasing what Dragon Lee can do. You had the LWO stop the Judgment Day every time they tried to interrupt. You had Rey Mysterio do a West Coast pop on his son, which is always a pretty cool move. Just watching Rey Mysterio perform in the ring is always amazing. Dragon Lee picks up the win. It was a nice little match to continue the rivalry between the LWO and the Judgment Day. And we have Io Sky and Kairi Sane of Damage Control take on and defeat the Unholy Union. There's something about Japanese wrestlers that I really enjoy watching. They have a very elegant style of wrestling. And the fact that Io Sky and Kairi Sane have been able to adapt to the WWE, which is obviously a lot more entertainment-based, a lot more promo-based, and obviously they don't speak the best, or they're not the most fluent in English, but still, the fact that they can still perform and put on these really banger matches really shows why they're considered the best wrestlers in the women's division in the world. And I am personally a big fan of them. And I think that's about everything that happened in tonight's episode of Monday Night Raw. Again, really enjoyed Jey Uso getting his first singles title run. Obviously, that was the big headline. And I can't wait to see what happens in NXT and SmackDown. So if you guys enjoyed these kinds of videos, leave it a like and comment on what you guys want me to react to, or maybe my thoughts. I do have some long-form videos of like me narrating and, you know, still productive videos on the way. So like I said, I'm not sticking to a specific type of content. You're going to see different types here. And of course, subscribe to the channel. If you just want to see any wrestling related content, whatever you guys want to see, leave it in the comment section below. I got friends too around my area who love wrestling, so I might get them all involved as well. And other than that, this is Renzio signing out. I'll see you all soon.